Hi everyone, my name is Ryan and I'm the Midlife Skier. We were recently spending the weekend up in Banner Elk, North Carolina to do some skiing at the North Carolina ski resorts nearby there. We skied Saturday during a snowstorm at Beach Mountain and I was pretty frustrated by that experience. You can check out that episode to hear my laundry list of complaints. However, we skied the next day, Sunday, at Sugar Mountain and had a wildly different experience. Today, I'm going to go through our day at Sugar Mountain and what made it so much better. We were staying in a rental townhome about 10 minutes away from Sugar Mountain. So as usual, we aimed to get to the mountain about 30 to 40 minutes before the lifts opened up. The snowstorm that was there that weekend had wound down the prior evening, so the roads were in pretty good shape. The snow did bring much colder temperatures though, with air temps around 0 degrees and wind chills. The winds really came up as well, of like negative 20, negative 25. So it was really, really cold. When we got there, it was basically empty. We got a pretty good parking spot and the ticket purchase area was empty. I had a little trouble for a minute figuring out until I just saw the sign. Like I was looking for the crowd of people. There was literally nobody. So I was able to just walk up and get our lift tickets right away. After getting the tickets, warming up some in the lodge, and sorting some more equipment issues, my daughter has this issue where she wears glasses and her glasses keep fogging up inside of her goggles. We got some super high ventilation OTG goggles, but it's not helping. Her glasses just fog up. The goggles don't fog, it's just the glasses inside the goggles. So anyway, after working with her on that, trying to figure something out, we headed out to the lift area. Since I always like to do an easy warm-up run as the first run of the day, we started out in the beginner area at Sugar Mountain, which has its own high-speed quad lift and is separated from the main slope. The lift and run were in great shape. I highly recommend this, by the way, over anything else I've seen in North Carolina, especially Beach Mountain for first-time skiers. Next, we did a run called Big Birch. It's a blue run. After doing this a couple of times, we moved up just above Big Birch to another blue run called Oma's Meadow. Oma's is a beautiful blue run that has its own high-speed quad chairlift. Brand new too, like it smelled new, it looked new. We loved lapping Oma's and made a note to return later. After a warming break in the empty lodge, we then hit the summit high-speed quad lift. It was windy up there, but not too bad. My son and daughter both did the double black diamond run called Whoop-de-Doo, but I didn't. I was like, nope. It was steep. But they did it, by the way, and they did it without falling, so proud of those kids, but I wasn't doing it. After that, we all did the black diamond run called Gunther's Way, which was it has a pretty steep part, but it was a blast. We had fun on that. Just kind of hit a flow where, you go from a blue and then you go onto this black run, and it's steep and then it's not as steep, then it gets real steep and then there's a flatter part. It was so much fun. We just had a blast with it. After lunch, we wrapped up the afternoon returning to Oma's, and we lapped it several times. Again, this beautiful blue, nice rollers, a little bit of pitch, but not much, and just the lift, the high-speed quad. No line, no one there, just lapping round and round and round. It was so much fun. We had such a fun time at Sugar. It was basically empty until around 1 p.m., close to when we left. My son pointed over to the beginner area, and there was a huge mass of people over there. But they didn't really come over to the main area, and we hadn't noticed it. I'm not really sure why everyone showed up at 1. I think Sugar has a half-day lift ticket option, but it only kicks in at 1 p.m. or later, so maybe that was it. People were just waiting for that. Or maybe it was because it was a Sunday. I don't know. Maybe people had to go home, from the weekend, so they couldn't be there on Sunday. Also, maybe it was because it was so cold. It was brutally cold. By far, that was, I'm 99% sure, that was the coldest day of the season, and probably the coldest day in a long time up in the North Carolina mountains. So I don't know if it was a combination or one of these things, but it was a ghost town there. It was so nice, especially after the day before at Beech Mountain. Also, the high-speed lifts were a godsend, especially in the brutally cold conditions. Again, after those glacial lifts at Beech Mountain, the difference was night and day. And again, I can't emphasize it enough. If you're considering skiing for the first time, or if you have someone that you're going to have them take ski lessons first time, and doing so in North Carolina, I would highly recommend Sugar Mountain over the other resorts I visited. I know I haven't visited everywhere in North Carolina, but Sugar was really nice. It's nice because it's separated from the main slope. It has its own run, and you don't have advanced skiers coming screaming through. And also the high speed, it has its own high speed lift. And so it was so fast and comfortable over there. Just a much better experience. The only negative experience I had at Sugar was with the snowmaking. They were running some snowmaking guns, and there was one on the main slope, and I veered as far away from it as I could. But just as I got there, a gust of wind blew, and all of a sudden it felt like somebody dumped a bucket of water against my front, and it flash froze. So my goggles, my shirt, my arms, sleeves, pants, everything was just covered in ice. My hands, it was so cold, and it just hurt. And the worst part was I could barely see through my goggles. Luckily, it was kind of near the bottom of the run, but it definitely wasn't pleasant. But on the other hand, I mean, Sugar is hardly the only mountain to make snow on the slope while it's open, so I don't ding them much on this. With the empty slopes and great groomed conditions, I was able to get some decent stats. Here they are. Top speed was 35.6 miles per hour. Average speed was 21.3 miles per hour. Total vertical feet were 9,640 feet. Also, with the great conditions, I was able to do a lot better on my carve score. I got a 98 in parallel skiing, which is my second best all time. I felt good in the progress I made, and I was so much more comfortable at Sugar working on my technique. Again, lapping up at Oma's with that high-speed lift, it was just fun to try different things, slightly different things, and just kind of work on my technique. So in summary, Sugar was freaking awesome. It was way better than Beach in every way. It is a steep mountain. It's steeper than Beach or pretty much any other mountain been to this year, other than maybe Beaver Creek in Colorado. But it can be intimidating, but it has parts that aren't as steep. Like the beginner area is not steep. And then again, Oma's Meadow up at the top, that wasn't steep. Just nice. And again, I love the high-speed lifts and the obvious investment they've made there. It's obvious who's putting their money back into the mountain for a better experience. So we'll definitely be back to Sugar at some point, hopefully this season, if not, definitely next season. So anyway, that's it, and I hope you have a great day.